Welcome back to Ceramics 2. In this video, we're going to make the handle for our juicer project. In the previous videos, you've been working on throwing a citrus juicer on the wheel. Okay, for this project, I'm going to leave the handle idea open. There's a variety of handles you can do, and it's all going to depend on what kind of juicer you made. Now, you do want it to fit the style of your juicer. Number one, you want it to be functional and have it work. Number two, you want it to be comfortable. And number three, you want it to enhance the design. You don't want to just have some big chunk lying out there. So I made a couple different examples. Number one, you could have a juicer with the handle on the back. Now, you always want to have the spout opposite your handle. So if I'm lifting this up, I'm going to grab it here and pour it this direction, like this, so that I can, have the gravity working with me as I pour. All right? You could make it however thin or chunky you feel it needs to be in order to maybe get your thumb on the inside and some fingers underneath so you can lift it up properly. That's one option. You could pull these handles or you could sculpt them. If you feel like, pulling handles just didn't work out for me so much and I want to decorate one that's more in the lines of a sculpture, that's fine too. This one, I've kind of got it set upside down here. This is a handle that I've pulled. It's still a little bit wet, but it's off the side. You can see that it is perpendicular. I'll hold it up this way. Perpendicular to the spout. So what you're going to do is you're going to be like grabbing onto it here. Let's see, maybe I'll do it this way. You'll be grabbing it onto the other side and then twisting it that way. Okay, so you can have a handle that's either right across from your spout or perpendicular from your spout. Usually the perpendicular ones are more handily like this. They're just kind of sticking straight out, and you grab them like that, whereas the other kind of handles you would grab more with your fingers. Now, if you make a handle like this, I pulled this off of the juicer this way, and then I'm going to let it sit upside down. I made this little holder like that so I can set it up and it can kind of dry hanging upside down. Okay? Move that out of the way for the moment. And last but not least, if you've got the juicer on top of a bowl, you're just going to want to put the handle on the bowl. It's because you're going to take the juicer top off and then pour the juice out of the bowl. So you only need the handle at the bottom. Okay? So that's just a quick rundown, two-minute rundown of the options that you could do. Now, that said, I'm going to take my juicer and just review. There's all the holes where the juice is going to go through because I made a bowl juicer. I did the extra additive sculpture on the top. I did the slip trailing dots there to help the texture, so when I'm juicing, the lemon or lime or whatever citrus gets properly squished. Now, I'm going to take my bowl piece and I'm actually going to throw a little loop or pull a little loop handle right here that I can grab here and tilt. Okay, so this is kind of a review of how to make a handle. If you're feeling like, oh, I know how to make a handle, then you can stop watching now and you can start working on your handle. If you forget from level 1 how to pull a handle, this is the point where you should continue watching. Okay, so I'm just going to take my lump of clay, I'm going to kind of roll it into a thick coil. Okay, I'm going to make sure not to trap any air inside of it, and then I'm going to pull my coil. So at the sink, you can use the sink. I like to use a sink because then the dribbles will come down. You're going to get the whole chunk of clay wet. You're going to pull down on that clay and slowly move the clay. Use its plasticity to bend and mold the clay as you kind of pinch it in your fingers and draw your fingers downward. And make that handle a little bit thicker than you intend it to be. Okay, now this is a very short handle compared to what we made last year because this is it's not a mug, it's a juicer, it's smaller, it's stouter. So we're going to need to make that handle a little bit shorter. Okay, I've got my handle ready here. I'm going to set it down just like we did last year. I'm going to score and slip where I want it. So I'm going to look at my bowl or the juicer. I'm going to choose the portion that's right across from the spout. So there's my section there that I'm going to choose. I'm going to slip and score the top where I intend to attach it. and I'm going to slip and score the bottom where I intend to attach it. I slip. Remember, slip and score both the bottom and the top, and you can clean up those edges later. Okay, I'm going to set that down, dry my hand off, use my knife to cut my angle. Remember, you want to do an acute angle so that the acute part is pointing towards the handle area. Okay, just like we did in level 1, because I'm going to want this to be sloping upwards so it has nice lift. Okay, and I'm going to take my handle, I'm going to firmly attach it right across from the spout. To firmly attach it, I'm going to gently and firmly at the same time, kind of that Goldilocks thing, smush it into the body of my juicer. Okay, I want to make sure that the slip is squishing out so that the attachment of my handle is nice and solid and there's going to be no possibility for it to be coming off. Okay, so there's my handle attached all the way around. Now I'm going to pull, get my hand wet, I'm going to re-pull this in order to do two things. Number one, to give it a little bit of lift, so I'm holding my bowl on a, like, I don't know, it's not 45 degrees, like whatever that is, a 50-degree angle or something. And I'm continuing to pull to even out the sides and to get it a little bit thinner. Now for a juicer, if you have a bowl juicer like this, you want to make sure that your juicer, that the handle doesn't go so high that you knock it into the juicer as you're, taking it off. Okay. Going to put a thumb ridge in the middle. Remember last year we talked about thumb ridges and finger ridges and little extra pouring chunks of clay that you can put on. Now I want to make sure that I leave enough room for a finger. And now I've done that. All right, and I'm going to gently, make it just a little shorter. Gently squish it onto the end here. And in videos last year, or when I did this with you in level 1, I probably took this tail and made it all super decorative and like squished it all over the place. But there's no room for that on this because that juicer is going to be right on the countertop most of the time. So I'm actually going to smooth that off. I'm going to press it in with my finger real good so it gets attached. I'm going to smooth around here, make sure there's no hard edges. I've got a little hard edge on the back here. I'm just going to rub my finger along that. Now I am going to take this and just change the shape of it ever so slightly. I'm going to widen it so it's a little bit wider. And I'm going to make it stand up just a bit more. Okay, so there's my little handle for my juicer. And when I'm done, I'll be able to pick that up pretty easily. And this juicer top should fit right on there. Okay, so there's my finished juicer handle along with the top portion that is the juicer. Okay, so this is what your juicer should look like when you're finished. You should have texture on the dome. You should have the bowl. You should have the spout. And you should have a handle. Okay, the way you all put that together on your own for your own particular juicer is up to you, but you need to have all those components. That's what I'm grading you on. Okay, so thanks for joining me for how to make a ceramic juicer in level 2.